those of you who are single, what does that really look like to you? Because, you know, I mean, there's currently a guy in the picture, starting with you, Sophia. You're an attractive girl, right? I'm sure there's dudes in the picture, kind of.
To be honest, I'm a homebody. Like, what I like doing is playing video games and watching anime and, traveling.
Sure.
So being single for me is just basically learning more about myself that I didn't even know. Like, I'm finding things out that I didn't even know if I was in a relationship, I would never find out, I feel like spending time alone is just the best thing in the world. So I love being single.
It's fun. So there's nothing.
Like
You're
a guy.
celibate. Are you celibate?
Oh, I'm celibate. No, I'm not.
Really?
I'm not until I mean, it's
Are
just
you involuntarily?
Stop
Okay, all right. What?
She's definitely not involuntarily.
Who said yeah?
Come on, Aaron. There's no way she's involuntarily celibate.
I'm very picky.
You're
so
picky?
I'm very picky. Yes.
Voluntarily,
Very, very
a
picky.
bull cell, if you will.
She's a voluntary.
How long
celibate.
have you been celibate for?
Stop the cat.
Ever since I broke up with my ex like 4 months ago. I've only been celibate for 4 months, but
That's good though. Yeah, I was celibate for 3 months recently. It was so nice.
it's actually so nice. Like,
Yeah.
just kind of like refocusing on like yourself and what you want and just not having
And
that.
then when you take away the power of sex,
Yeah.
like it gets quieter, but it's
Yeah.
nice. It's free.
And it's so nice when you find somebody, or if you do decide to have sex again, it feels
Yeah.
great.
What makes you want to break your celibacy?
well, I had to do a collab. So,
Oh, for work.
Yeah,
for work.
basically.
Oh,
so.
okay.
Word.
Okay. Pixie, you're single.
Yes.
How's it looking out there in Miami?
Bad. I've gone on a bunch of dates, and some of them are good, and then but then I'm also traveling a lot, so I can't like consistently, because then it's like bye, and then you lose contact. It's sad. I'm sad.
Didn't you recently move to Miami? Where were you before?
I was like
Not recently, but
Yeah.
you did move to Miami.
Yeah, I was in Boca. I was like an hour up north.
Oh, so have you always been in Florida? Pretty much.
Well, born and raised in Puerto Rico till 17.
Okay.
Then moved to New York for 2 years. Then moved to Florida.
Did you date in PR at all, or?
No, I didn't have my first kiss until 17.
Okay.
Oh.
And that was when you came here?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Well, have you considered like Portland, Oregon, or like Berkeley, California? I'm just looking out for you, Pixie. You got to go where the liberal dudes are, and I feel like Miami, Florida's kind of pretty conservative, right?
Well,
I mean,
it's the weirdest thing because they're like conservative, but they're not even like trad conservative. They're like, oh, like all the men want sugar babies, and then
they're like fuckboy conservative.
yeah,
Kind of? Okay.
and then they're like, trying to like bribe me with like money and like watches or stuff like that, and I'm just like, no, like I don't want that. I'm sorry, no, I want to find someone I actually connect with.
She won't even go on like Hinge here because she was like, no. Do you want to
It's
explain?
worse.
I was like, I don't. It makes
And this
no
is California we're talking about.
I was like, it makes no sense for me to go on the dating apps right now because I'm gonna leave in a week.
Well, yeah,
and
you're
then,
just here temporarily. You want something long term, I imagine.
yeah. So it's like,
what's the point?
yeah, exactly. So
I mean, unless like typically if you're traveling, really, what's on the table, like a casual encounter.
yeah, and I don't want
If
that.
you don't want
so-
that, yeah. then- I mean, unless you can somehow convince a guy to move out, but
Have you seen her?
that's a-
She easily could do that.
I've done it.
I think
before.
I feel like I mean, for anybody, it's gonna be a stretch to be like
after a week.
after
Yeah.
a week. All right, just move to. I mean, you got
I
like a
did
spare
that.
bedroom.
That's happened.
You want a man who can make up his mind like fast. You know?
Okay, all right.
Haven't you ever heard that like, oh, women decide, or like, I don't know if it's women. I feel like the saying is women like, oh, they decide if they want to have sex with a guy within the first like
5
30,
minutes.
yeah,
Yeah.
5 minutes,
I've heard
something
that.
like that.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's any validity to that or no?
It's probably faster, but yeah, probably.
So like, okay, then if
You can't talk your way into getting pussy.
Really?
No.
Yeah, you
Yes, you can.
Wait,
Yes,
Can you?
Yes.
There's a lot of good stuff.
Talk your way. I don't think that like can. I mean,
how
would
else do you think men get laid?
The Riz. You gotta Riz
The
them
Riz,
up.
yeah, exactly.
But I feel like if there's not that initial attraction,
That's not
I
true.
mean,
no.
You
can
need
develop
that
it.
initial
That
attraction.
chemistry
I,
can
like-
spark instantly if
'Cause
you
I've
really,
definitely,
really
You
like
need like
them.
God tier Riz. If it was like a no, and then it becomes
Because well, the thing is
Plus
that
alcohol.
you can see.
Don't underestimate the
Yeah,
influence.
well,
of that.
actually, I don't recommend men involve
no, not-
alcohol at
At
any
all.
level of the
Yeah.
courtship process.
Well, you can see an attractive men.
Courtship.
Like for me,
the
like if I
courtship process.
were to like
courtship
see a man that I think is attractive, like I'd be like, oh, okay, I would probably. But like if he opens his mouth and he's horrible, I'm like, oh, never
Yep.
mind.
That's
But
so
like if a guy is like not like fully my type and he like opens his mouth and he's great, I'm like, okay. So you could definitely talk yourself into it.
I guess that's fair. I guess that's fair.
It's been known to happen.
I've
But I
been,
mean, to your point, it's like, but I think I think the thing you said was a woman knows within the first 5 minutes of meeting a guy.
Yeah.
And I think you can actually, I mean, that first impression, it's not just looks, it's also like the way they carry themselves, the conversation that they're bringing
Yeah.
in that first 5 minutes, the way they hold themselves too. So, I mean, I think if their convo is not on point in those first 5 minutes, then can they redeem themselves perhaps from
Yeah.
there? I don't know. It's hard to say, but
I think so because I feel like a lot of people meet through friend groups. So maybe the first time you interacted with them wasn't so hot, but
Sure.
the second time, if they're like in your friend group, you can come around to somebody easily.
Yeah.
Even without them
Okay.
talking you into it or like rizzing you up, it just happens.
Yeah.
okay, all right. So okay, yeah, Pixie, my prescription for you is you need to move to a highly liberal Seattle. I think would be good for you. You do well
Seattle's
in Seattle.
nice. I
Is
love
it?
Seattle?
Wait, aren't you from Seattle?
No, I've just been there.
It's cloudy and rainy. Like
Yeah, but the city's really
300
nice,
days
and
out of the
everyone's
year.
really nice.
That sounds
I've seen.
depressing if it's cloudy and rainy, though.
That's cozy.
Ireland for you.
Yeah.
that'd be a downgrade from Miami, geographically speaking. The men there, though, they'd probably love you. You're single. What's going on there? Is there a dude in the picture?
Yeah, so no, not yes. Well, so I was dating, like casually, but looking for something long term. First, when I got broken up with, when I ended my relationship. But then after that, I kind of gave up. So now I'm just definitely like working on myself, and I like being single. I again don't participate in hookup culture just because I think it's damaging personally for me. But yeah, right now I'm just working on myself because I think if I were to get into a long-term relationship, I think it would be very hard for me to maintain that.
Okay. What about you? There's a couple guys in the picture, right?
Honestly, no. Like, maybe if I was supposed
Stop the cap.
No, for real. Majority of my intimacy is work.
Okay.